thanks for tuning in to another episode within a world where a citizen's justice is never lost. Where we bring you the news, not just within our world, but within the vast worlds that mankind has created throughout the fictional multiverse. I am your host, JG Travel.
Quantifilmations, unique as in the eye of the beast.
The Dynasty.
Today, we dive into the world of Runeterra. This is where the video game League of Legends takes place in. For those of you who don't know, League of Legends is a multiplayer online battle arena, aka MOBA, where you get to choose to play as one of over 100 different champions on several different maps for a variety of prizes. Most of the time it's enhancing your champion with skins if you want to fork over that cash, or saving up in-game currency to get even more champions, or as of recent, basically to enhance your experience in milestones called Eternals, to be able to just say that I've done this much in the game. The series that I'm reviewing is Arcane. It is a series that covers the stories between Piltover and Zon. At first, I had a issue of where I wanted to post this video because League of Legends being a video game, and then you have Arcane that is an animated series that takes place in a video game universe. At first, I want to post this on my 2K Returning Gaming channel because it's a video game based series, but it's non-video game related in my analysis and reasons and judgment of posting it on my Quantifilmations channel because of the format that it's in. They didn't have Arcane be like another scenario within League of Legends to play, so therefore this video and my Quantifilmations channel subsequently gets dibs on this review being on this channel. Before we go any further, if you would, drop a like on this video and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. It'll definitely help me out in the rankings of this video reach a larger audience here on YouTube or anywhere else this video is posted. And also, as an added bonus, if you would like, post whether you are Team Vi or Team Jinx. Me personally, I'm Team Jinx because I am a Jinx main. Now, before those of you who watching this video and regularly play with me in League of Legends, my fellow summoners, you may call Cap because you see me play Caitlyn a lot. When I look into my video game, in my settings, and I go to my masteries, check this out. I have more mastery points in Jinx than I do Caitlyn. Even though Caitlyn has a higher season rating, Jinx I'm a lot more comfortable with. If you still want to press, you're going to get something like this.
Now, reality can be whatever I want.
And the reality of that is, I'm so fresh and so clean. Debonair Vi and Jace are a whole vibe. Excuse me, I got some GQing to do. You dig? Anyway, before I was presumptuously interrupted by a bunch of trolls and haters before I had to decimate them all, let's continue on with this review. After watching this series, I get this vibe that there is going to be a lot of tension between those in Piltover, the rich class, versus those of the poor class, the hood, and Zon. Nothing against my hood brothers and sisters. Me personally, I was born in the hood, but raised in a place that, even though it wasn't the hood, it was similar to it in a way. But Still, I would say it would be as close to Piltover as what you can think of. The story Arcane focuses on the lives of two sisters named Violet and Powder. In a previous fight that Piltover had with Zahn, they lost their parents, and they were adopted by Vander, who at the outset seems to be the one that is keeping the Undercity, is what Zahn is known as, together, with another guy named as Benzo. And spoiler alert, Vi, who also is known as Violet to her little sister Powder, went on a heist to Piltover to steal some things, and because of them being poor, stealing is what they do to sell to pawn shops so they can earn a living and do whatever. And it goes south. I'm not going to say what happens. For those of you who've seen it, you could see that the sibling rivalry, well, I would say spat between Violet, Powder, and their brothers Milo and Clogger. More or less Milo than anything else. He reminds me of a sibling or just a plain out troll who basically picks on Powder because she's somewhat of a failure. And I would say it's like, yeah, you have those siblings or probably cousins or family members that just want to troll you and throw your failures in your face. Me personally, I felt every part of that, and Milo's the kind of sibling I would have beaten up if he messed with a family member like that. And Vi basically knew how to handle that, and props to her for dealing with a trolling little brother. So you have this theme of sisters standing up for one another. Vi is the oldest out of the four. She sticks up for Powder, who seems defenseless, mostly against Milo, but then Clogger is also in on it too, following his brother. I don't know who's older, but we see that they pick on Powder because they call her a Jinx, and before her name, spoiler alert, for those of you who've played the game, for those of you who not, we all know that Powder becomes Jinx, but you will see her progression of how she becomes the crazy lady of Runeterra herself. And at this point, I have a lot more respect of who Jinx was as Powder, as someone who didn't fit into the peers at a young age myself. You see that Powder's trying to do everything right, and she just feelings of inadequacy of something that fails sits her right back down into depression and things like that. And then you have a older sibling that just exploits that failure and makes her feel bad. But good thing is that she had a sibling that stood up for her, which I had something like that when I was a kid. Actually, I do. Shout out to Elements of Music for being those ones that stood up for me when I was a little kid. Topside, we have the story of Jace and his life's work at the Academy researching something called Hextech through a crystal that is in his possession. This technology, according to the Academy, is very volatile and perhaps illegal, and spoiler alert, it gets Jace expelled from the Academy instead of what they intended on just expelling him from the city. But his sentence was lenient, and I would say I kind of saw that coming. They could just get rid of Jace, but they could have, and he could have researched elsewhere and then come back and tell them, yeah, this actually works. And that does happen with Victor. But we see with Hextech in itself, the idea of how they explain using magic with science, magic through science rather. I wanted to say that I had a problem with the way how they explained that, but after seeing the way how they explain Hextech, It's no different from alchemy and its evolution, metallurgy. We see that what alchemy was, and then you see metallurgists using the principles of alchemy to better understand how to transform metals into what they are now, like the titanium alloy. You could say in a related field, you could say nanotechnology, mRNA, is an extension of the parallel of what something like techmetallurgy could do. So with Jace in mind, you see this techno-progressivism. For those of us who've played the game, know that Jace is on the forefront of techmetallurgy studies, and that Piltover becomes the city of progress because of what he and Victor did. Before we go into further this video, we're going to get into some heavy spoiler territory. So if you don't want to be spoiled, you can click off of this in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. You have been warned. We're going to give a moment of silence to those who lost their lives fighting for what they believed in the first act of this series. Now, some of the development points that I want to talk about. First, I would like to say Hextech. Hextech, I see how they come up with the idea of advanced technology being indistinguishable from magic, as what Arthur C. Clarke would. But me personally, to me, those are an impossibility. But who am I to say that for someone who doesn't know too much about science and technology on that level, who's to say is that magic is a term only used for people who think that it's the devil's work, when actually that only applies to actual magic, that's spell casting. But something like Hextech, metallurgy, really isn't when you look at the implementations of it. It's just as we know how to utilize things in a way that the creator has left for us on this planet to mess around with, as long as it doesn't destroy stuff. How's that working out for us? From what I've learned from seeing other reviews on YouTube and elsewhere, that there's a time skip between episode 3 and 4. Because it's an origin story, we see how everybody was in the past, and then episode 4 through 6, you see what they are as an adult. Mainly Violet, now known as Vi, which has always been known as Vi. That's her nickname that Powder calls her. And Powder becoming the crazy lady herself of Runeterra, Jinx. You have Silco, we don't know who he becomes. Vander is dead. We see Jace and Victor. Benzo is also dead. So we don't know from Zahn's point of view who takes over the, I would say, who is going to hold Zahn down, since Benzo and Vander are no longer among them. Or is it going to go into chaos like Gotham? Maybe. I don't know. That's going to be something exciting to see. But the character development that I want to see, my predictions of it, we see the first being Vi and the girl that's going to be known as Jinx. You have probably a redemption arc that may come in Vi trying to redeem Jinx. And this in itself gives me this Batman Joker type of dynamic. And that's because, you know, of all the times Batman is trying to capture the Joker, can't seem to do it. And there is some series, I don't know if it was in the animated series, there was a point where Batman asked Joker to come with him, I guess, you know, rehabilitating him, and Joker said,
I'm sorry, but no. No. It's far too late for that.
and I'm thinking something similar to that is going to happen at the end of, I would say, Act 3. or it could happen in Act 2, and the next thing I'm going to add in that ties into that dynamic is between Sickle and Powder. In the video game, there's an interaction between Jethro Swain and Jinx.
Faces fading in the flames. It was all her fault.
Believing that she was going to save her adopted father, wind up foobarring the whole operation, getting her two brothers killed. I want to say that Vander was already dead because of Silco was once his brother, and he really he went overboard, and what happened was that he wound up saving Vi from the building that exploded due to what Powder did with her Hextech bombs. And in the aftermath, we see that Silco, I don't know, he could have adopted Powder as his daughter, depending on how young she is. But then again, Silco probably sees her as another henchman. This dynamic, I would say, is that because of Silco's bad influence, she's brainwashed into fighting for his cause. And in doing so, creates a lot of problems from Piltover, and you have this dynamic between Vi and Jinx that is very reminiscent between the dynamic of Batman and the Joker. The other character development is between Jace and Victor. Now, for those of us who've played League of Legends know that Victor and Jace at one point had a huge disagreement and started fighting each other. And in that fighting, they went their separate ways. You have Jace that perhaps maybe by the end of Act 3 or probably during Act 2 finds out that Victor betrayed him, much like Silco betrayed Vander, and using all his resources creates the Mercury Hammer to fight Victor, who you know in the video game is a cyborg, but the context of Hextech, you know how he got that power. I'm going to thank you again for watching this video. You made it this far to the end of it. I applaud you. It really helped me out, and knowing that you really enjoyed this content and found it interesting. As for the Arcane series, I will be posting a review the day after each act airs. Act 1, I posted the day after on this day. Act 2 is November 13th. I'll probably be posting on the 14th. And then Act 3 on the 20th, I'll probably be posting it on the 21st. Until next time, check out my other videos across both of my channels. I'll see y'all later.